Hey guys, this is GameCal. Welcome back to more Pokemon stuff. This time it's not actually going to be ladder games, even though today is a day that I would have wanted to do those, because I've spent all day battling in Mr. Bear's subscriber / mod tourney today, and I am battled out, gigantically battled out. So yeah, I'm not gonna actually go ahead and do any new battles just now, but I wanted to show off some of the cooler games that I had in the tournament. Long story short, I got kind of hacked out by Ross in the first game, although I could have played it better to prevent said hacks. So it was double elimination. I had to play through all of the loser rounds. There were 16 people in total, so I had 6 or 7 loser rounds to play in. I think it was 7, and then I had to basically, go through the final stuff with a needing to win both games if I wanted to win the whole thing. Didn't quite turn out that way. I won all the way up until the finals and took the first game of said finals, but I took my second loss, unfortunately, in the rematch against Ross in the final game. So he won 2-1 overall today. I went 8-2, I think it was today, because I played a couple of games outside of the tourney as well, which was pretty fun. And yeah, I just wanted to show a couple of the coolest games that I had here, because I had to save all of the replays in order to upload them and stuff for the tournament and whatnot. So let's see, I wanted to show the one against Smoked here. So this was loser round, I want to say 4. I think it's 4 because then it's 4, 5 and 6 are the ones I want to show. So I was running the same team that I ran in, the previous video on Wednesday or Thursday, I guess it went up. I recorded it on Wednesday, but yeah, day after stuff that way. So I was basically running the, this team you see here with the Landorus, Aegislash, Rotom, Salamence. It had Blaziken and Azumarill as well. Smoke's team, he had the Charizard, which was Charizard Y. He had Nidoking, Mismagius, which is pretty cool. You don't usually see that because unfortunately Gengar kind of outclasses it most of the time. You see Raichu, which is a really neat pick for VGC actually. You don't normally see Raichu beyond stuff here. But the other two Pokemon you have were Conkeldurr and Slowbro. Slowbro I actually thought was going to give my team a lot of trouble if it came in, because it really kind of beats everything I have except Aegislash and Rotom. And even then, Rotom is defensively built, so if it somehow got enough Calm Minds up, like I didn't have Rotom switched in at the time, it could be kind of painful. I guess my Salamence being special based, it doesn't care as much about Mega Slowbro, because Mega Slowbro doesn't get any more special defense, it only gets physical. So yeah, I essentially figured out that I needed to shut down Nidoking as the main thing, because Choice Scarf Nidoking can kind of put a lot of dents in teams, and it's difficult to protect against everything it could play there. So let's just go ahead and bring this match up. Now, I actually meant to play Zydia's theme during this one, but I messed up and I forgot which number it was, so we had to deal with this theme instead. Anyway, wanted to bring out Lando turn 1 because I knew from previous knowledge in the tournament that Raichu was purely physical. It has Fake Out, Knock Off, and Volt Tackle, and I don't think we ever saw a 4th move during the tournament. So I wanted the early Intimidate, but I also knew Raichu obviously has Fake Out, so I needed to switch out of that. Aegislash could not get Faked Out, so that was fine. Rotom took no damage there, and the Will-O-Wisp there, if you like, is unfortunate, but I don't think it made a difference in the long run, because as you'll find out later, Aegislash kind of just gets OHKO'd anyway, and the residual damage, whilst it might have changed the way he played a little bit, really didn't make any difference here. So in comes Charizard, and this is actually a very nice combination of two mons here. Charizard Y and Raichu are kind of hard to play around when you have Rotom and Aegislash on the field. This is not a great position for me to be in, because I can't just T-Bolt here. If I T-Bolt, then he kind of just goes ahead and gets Lightning Rod, and I do no damage. But my Hydro Pump is at half power, so it doesn't really do enough damage to the Charizard. So I kind of just go for the defensive turn here. We get the King Shield and the Protect going here. See, the Charizard wants to go Solar Beam instead of Heat Wave this turn, so yeah, that's fine. And then Knockoff actually went on to the Rotom as well, so that gave me the idea, well, if that's what he's going to do, I'm going to switch in Salamence, because then that takes Knockoff. It's got a Mega Stone, so it takes no damage from that, especially at -2. And it does resist the Solar Beam should that go on again. In case it didn't, however, I did want to put the White Guard up this turn, and it turned out to be really good for me because Heat Wave just came out and did nothing. So it was a really safe switch in there, and then I could bring Rotom back out in place of the Aegislash. I didn't really want to go for another White Guard because most Charizard do have Overheat, and I didn't want to run into that. So yeah, Salamence takes a lot of damage here with the Combine Heat Wave Volt Tackle. I have no idea why I didn't go Mega. I wanted to conserve the Intimidate for some reason, but I don't know why, because I had no intention of switching out. So really I should have gone Mega and cut my damage down by quite a bit there, like the damage I took, but oh well, didn't really matter in the end. The prior damage that Raichu took from Volt Tackle means if it did have Focus Sash, that wouldn't make a difference, and of course with Tailwind I go first against pretty much everything here, so that was a pretty good turn for me last time. Tailwind Salamence actually coming in handy here. The Paralysis, it kind of stung, but it actually didn't make a difference in the end because Rotom just kind of forced a Solar Beam. I have Tailwind up, so any of my Pokemon would outspeed Charizard regardless. So it actually didn't matter. I was kind of fortunate that Draco decided not to miss there, because that turn would have gone really, really badly if Draco Meteor missed. I would have had to still deal with the Raichu and the full health Charizard without, you know, everything there. I could have at least got the Rock Slide off against it, I think. I might have brought Landorus here. No, I did bring Landorus, so yeah, I could have gotten that off. Unfortunately, -2 Hyper Voice doesn't finish off the Charizard there, so luckily I double tapped it, so yeah. Also kind of fortunate his Nidoking is not Choice Scarf, because that let me outspeed it there, but I do eat Earth Power for my troubles, so yeah, like I said, the burn didn't, you know, the Will-O-Wisp miss in the first turn didn't matter in the end because Aegislash just kind of died in one hit, but at this point, Nidoking is all by itself. I have Landorus and I have Salamence still here, so all it really takes is Earthquake, and should it survive that, which it really shouldn't, but if it did somehow survive that, even at -2, Hyper Voice would have finished it off. So that was the first game we had here, a pretty good one at that. So the next game I wanted to show was this one with EpilepZ. Pretty awesome game here too. The team here, BC, Talonflame, Altaria, Rotom, and Heat Rotom actually, and Amoonguss. The other two Pokemon that were here were an Azumarill and Cobalion, not the Pokemon you see every day. So that was kind of cool. Amoonguss gives this team a little bit of trouble because I don't have any safety goggle stuff to absorb the Spore. I don't have any grass type Pokemon switch into it either, so that can get kind of annoying. And outside of Salamence and Blaziken, I really don't have a way of dealing with it. So that's definitely something I had to play around quite drastically here, and usually it involves me taking whatever I think is the most expendable Pokemon in the back to come in and take the Spore, so it's not the greatest of strategies, I will admit, but I haven't lost to a team that has Amoonguss yet, so I don't know, it kind of works. So let's just go into this one and show, now that I am actually using Zinnia's theme, let's go ahead and show this game. So, Heat Rotom Amoonguss comes out as my best option. Really was going for Aegislash and Landorus here because I didn't want to lose ground to like the Talonflame or something coming in first. But I do end up getting the extra Intimidate here. It does nothing because these two are both special attackers, obviously. But Salamence is a much better matchup here, and I really didn't want Aegislash going to sleep. I felt it was more important than the Salamence immediately, but EpilepZ plays pretty freaking good this first turn, gets the burn on the Landorus, and because I missed the Rock Slide, I had no chance to defend against the Spore there, so I basically have to take that turn 1. At the very least, I know Amoonguss cannot Spore this turn, because, well, I mean it could, but it would be predicting a switch out, which is not necessarily going to happen. And I figured, in case Overheat came across, I would want to bring out Blaziken to defend against that, and it turned out fairly nicely. It ends up taking Giga Drain instead, which is fine. I do not care about that in the slightest. And now it is basically time to go Mega and hope that I wake up, because that's kind of important. So I think I protect, I protect with the Blaziken this turn just in case Rotom is like max speed, and Amoonguss goes protect as well, which is really good for me here, because that means it doesn't try and Spore or any shenanigans like that. And my Hyper Voice does go ahead of him, which means he is not particularly fast, and it is a dual status one. I vaguely remembered that from the previous rounds of the tournament, so yeah. Now, I looked at the damage that my Hyper Voice did last turn, and I figured that a single target Hyper Voice, despite being resisted, would be enough to take out Heat Rotom here. So I needed to get rid of the Amoonguss with the Overheat, and that of course happens. And Heat Rotom just kind of falls, and now it is, what, is it 4v2? Or is it 4v1? I think it's 4v2 at this point, which is very nice for me. Altaria comes into play, it's an interesting one to have here, and then we have the Talonflame. So I figured, because of my extra HP EVs, if I brought Talonflame to -1, I would be able to survive the Brave Bird and pull off a Draco on it so that it would die at one hit, and that would basically seal the game for me, because I had Aegislash against Altaria to finish things off, which could have still gone south if he had Fire Blast and decided to like Fire Blast kill me, but other than that I was pretty safe here, and the Brave Bird does, as expected, go out against Salamence, and I live it with 25 HP. Intimidate definitely coming in handy there, and of course the extra bulk which I have, and yeah, Draco Meteor is fine. Salamence at Mega is obviously going to be a lot faster than Altaria. I've designed it to outspeed max speed Breloom at non-Mega, so Altaria could not go first against me because it is basically 80 speed, and when I get the extra 20 speed for Mega Evolving, it just doesn't have a chance. Like 20 base speed, it cannot go first. So because I'm burned, I know I can't kill myself with Earthquake here, so I decide to lock myself into Earthquake rather than Rock Slide so that I can trigger my own weakness policy, and the Hyper Voice doesn't really do a whole lot. I don't know if Fire Blast would kill from there. I have a feeling it might have, so I probably took a bit of an unnecessary risk there, given that I also still had HP Ice on Blaziken. Probably didn't need to do that, but it looked a lot cooler, so there we go. +2 Flash Cannon, taking out Altaria, and that is the end of the game. So that was the round 5, I want to say, stuff there. And now we have round 6 against a new guy, a guy who just subbed to Bear like literally minutes before the tournament started, and did very well, by the name of OrangeRacer, who I was talking with after the tournament as well. It was really fun. So his team, he had another, well, it seemed standard with a couple, some of these mons, but he had a couple of interesting picks in the back. So he had Rotom, he had a Mega Salamence, he had Greninja, which is a bit different. It's caught on a little bit recently from what I've been hearing, but I haven't really seen too much of it myself. Like, you usually don't end up finding those. And a Gengar, which I knew had Will-O-Wisp and Icy Wind, and I think it... No, I don't actually think it had Taunt as well. I'm pretty sure it was just like Shadow Ball, Sludge Bomb from there, but I knew it had Icy Wind, so that was kind of good information to have. And his back Pokemon, he had Aegislash, which I knew had Shadow Sneak, so it was at least a mixed attacking one. and he had an Ember, which was really cool. And actually that did a lot of work in previous rounds that weren't this one, obviously, because it didn't come in this game. But it was a nice feature throughout the stream, and even though I'm not too convinced on the viability of it, it did very well in the tournament, so I cannot complain. So I figured my best lead matchup here would probably be Landorus and Blaziken, because Scarf Landorus I could outspeed Greninja, get the U-turn off against it. I really possibly should have superpowered this. I mean, it would have killed it, but it could have had Focus Sash, so I just went U-turn, you know. And of course, with the Protect on Blaziken, I could then outspeed Greninja next turn, which was most of the idea here. So yeah, it almost gets the kill, not quite enough to do it though. Landorus is strong, but not quite strong enough here. And well, my best switch in here was pretty much going to be the Aegislash. Takes the Ice Beam really well, and if Gengar decided to Will-O-Wisp, then it wouldn't matter. He lives by like 1 HP off of his Life Orb. That was really annoying. And yeah, it took the Will-O-Wisp as well. So the focus on Landorus here, pretty good for me, because yeah, Greninja is basically out at this point. It gets one more attack and it actually switches out here. So I actually basically predicted this, and I figured, well, you know, I'd still attack it, you know, with a Hidden Power Ice, 100% accuracy thing. I probably could have overheated the Gengar, but I went for the Shadow Ball on the Gengar actually, as it goes for the Icy Wind. Doesn't really bother Laberton at all, and it doesn't bother Blaziken as much as you might think, because I'll just recover that speed next turn with a speed boost, and I'll still outdo it. So then Shadow Ball comes out. It is going to hit very hard, but this Gengar does have the Focus Sash, so despite the crit, it doesn't really matter, of course, because it would have gone down to Focus Sash anyway. So this is a slightly interesting situation at this point. I have to kind of work out exactly how I want to deal with this, and I do just go for the Superpower, wanting to get as much damage on Rotom here as possible. It does an absolute crap ton of damage actually. It's really strong, but it does proc the Citrus Berry. And I'm probably losing Blaziken to this, but I figured it was okay, because it did a lot of damage in this game. Like it just about took out Rotom, but I guess I could have King Shielded there. I ended up losing both Pokemon to this turn, but that's okay, because I have Scarf Landorus still, and I have Salamence in the back, so Gengar is definitely going down to Rock Slide, assuming I don't miss, and I should be able to take out what's left of Rotom after a Rock Slide with the Hyper Voice, so especially if I don't go Mega. And that was kind of my key here. If I didn't go Mega, then I could, you know, do pretty well with this. It did bank on him not having Aegislash, which was a risk, a pretty big risk, but it was a risk I kind of had to take at this point. So yeah, the Hyper Voice didn't really do anything. He has his own Salamence here, which obviously gets a -1 on my Landorus. It's not so good, but I'm kind of locked into Rock Slide anyway, so whatever. Now, I guess he really didn't want to risk a flinch this turn, because he went for the Protect on Salamence, and this was the giant momentum shift here. I ended up going for my own Mega, obviously, and I run Tailwind this turn, because I figured my best chance of winning this, I know his Salamence is going to be faster because mine is not max speed infested, so I figured my best chance to win this is if he doesn't go for Salamence with the Draco or whatever, and I get my Tailwind out, so that now I'm faster. That's exactly what happens, and the Rotom's Will-O-Wisp does pull off, so Landorus is not really doing any damage anymore, but that's okay, because Salamence is really good, and I can still win this even though it's basically 3-on-1 now. The Rock Slide is still kind of neat because it does have the flinch chance just in case I miss with stuff, but Draco Meteor does not miss here, and that is going to take out Salamence. Now his last Pokemon is Greninja at like no HP, so Greninja would normally kill me from here, but because I did get a Tailwind up, I can outspeed it, and most Greninja do not have Protect, so there's pretty much no way that it can stall out the Tailwind, and that essentially just wins me the game, because it can't kill me first because I have the Tailwind up, and even at -2, obviously it doesn't need to do damage at that point. It gets the crit, which really didn't matter in this circumstance, so it would have been funny because it could have one-hit killed it probably. But yeah, Volt Switch doesn't really do any damage, and Protect is not going to matter here either, because I'm naturally faster than Rotom even outside of Tailwind. So basically all it takes is the Hyper Voice. It's single target now, so even though it's resisted and at -2, it takes out the last little bit of Rotom's HP and we win the game. So yeah, that was a really solid, fun match to play. It was super intense when we were playing that, and yeah, I actually literally fist bumped in real life at the yes sort of thing when I got that Tailwind off, and it, you know, everything fell into place. I found my one win condition and I went for it and it worked, and that is what it is all about. So hopefully you enjoyed those games. I will try and do some ranked stuff tomorrow so I can upload them. It'll be Monday morning that it goes up, and yeah, I will try and actually get some proper stuff done with that. So, this has been Gamer Cow showing some of the replays from today's VGC tournament, or I should say yesterday's VGC tournament by the time this goes up, for Mr. Barrow's subs and mods and stuff, and next time we'll try and do some more ranked stuff with this team. I played like 10 games today, so I have a good amount of experience with this team now. I may end up trying to make a new team at the end of next week or whatever, or I might just save it until the new ladder comes up. I don't know. Let me know of any ideas, I guess, you've got team-wise for one, and if you want to see a new team like before ladder stuff resets, because I might just not. I might just use this until the ladder resets in the middle of next month or whatever, because that would be kind of nice. But yeah, that's me rambling on as usual. Take care, see you next time.